Greetings, guys. John here for JohnCampea.net, and I wanted to give you my quick review, very quick review of the new Marvel film Thor. Now, even though I'm somebody who I'm a huge sci-fi fan, I'm a huge fan of comic book movies, I always thought that Thor was one of those characters that you simply could not do as a major motion picture. I thought he would come across as, you either have to go completely hokey and stupid, or you have to try to be serious, and that wouldn't work on screen. But when they brought on director Kenneth Branagh, I thought, well, maybe they can make this work. Maybe they can make this work. And I'm going to tell you right now, Kenneth Branagh and the team at Marvel found a way to find that perfect balance between quasi-serious and lighthearted, and found the perfect balance for Thor. Thor is fantastic. I loved this movie. Now, let me talk about a couple of things that didn't work so well. And most of them were technical issues. Number one, I found the editing to be quite odd, especially not in the action scene editing, but rather just in the story progression editing. The way he moved from one scene to the next, I found kind of herky-jerky and a little bit abrupt. As a matter of fact, when I saw some of the footage, I saw about 20 minutes of footage in Las Vegas a few weeks ago, and I remember thinking, oh, this isn't one continuous scene. These are a couple of collection of different scenes just kind of thrown together for this presentation. But no, it was actually the way the movie was edited together, and I thought that was a little bit weak. Also, sometimes the hokiness of the movie does go a little bit too far to being almost slapstickish. And you'll see what I mean. It's not that the humor doesn't work. It's just that the silliness of it sometimes doesn't work, just in a very few places. Also, something I got to mention as a weak point is not the performance of Natalie Portman, but I found that Natalie Portman's character is so minor, really. I mean, she's got a good amount of screen time, but really the impact she has on the story and her role in the story is so minor that I found having such a huge name star like Natalie Portman in it a little bit distracting. But that's pretty much everything negative I have to say about this film. Look, Chris Hemsworth is the perfect Thor. He played this role fantastic. He's got that regalness and power about him, and yet he's got a really good sense of comedic timing that I thought worked perfectly. Kat Dennings is a minor side character, a friend of Natalie Portman's character, and she was basically there for comedic relief, and she worked brilliantly. Tom Hiddleston was an amazing Loki. Anthony Hopkins was a perfect Odin. I mean, this movie, it fired on all cylinders. The action sequences were great. All the stuff that happened in Asgard. I remember thinking that if you're going to do a Thor movie, you can't have Asgard, because that's just going to feel way too out there. It's going to feel way too far outside of the Marvel universe that they've kind of set up in the film already with Iron Man and Hulk. This isn't going to work. And yet tons of this film happen in Asgard. A lot of, I'd say at least half the movie happens in Asgard. And it just works so well. You also got to mention Clark Gregg, who is, of course, the special agent Coulson, who's in the Iron Man films. And he's kind of the crossover character in this, which is great. I just, you know what, folks? I just got to say, I really, really loved this movie. It's not a perfect movie. I'll take issue with some people who say it's the best comic book movie ever made. I wouldn't put it on the same level as, say, a Spider-Man 2 or X-Men 2. And not quite the original Iron Man either. But it far exceeded my expectations. This is a fun, funny, exciting, visually beautiful, action-packed, character-rich Marvel film that gives me a lot of hope, not only for the Captain America film coming up, but also for the Avengers. Overall, I'm going to give Thor an 8.5 out of 10 for JohnCampea.net. I'm John Campea. Oh, and I should say, don't forget, like with most Marvel films, stick around till after the credits for an extra scene.